sweat, persistence, and teamwork by the Mount Pleasant Solar Co-op, a volunteer community organization, to get the panels in place.
Drop it in, it's getting hot.
Anya Schoolman is the co-founder of the co-op. She says the idea came from her teenage son.
My son Walter and his best friend Diego came back from seeing the movie Inconvenient Truth. And we were sitting around the table with them and Diego's dad Jeff and talking about what could we do, and decided really that we should go solar, that fit our neighborhood, our roofs, and that was the beginning of it.
But Anya, Walters, and their friends discovered a daunting set of obstacles stood between them and their solar dream. Too many products to choose from, too much paperwork to fill out, and too much money for contractors and permits and panels.
Instead of quitting, we said, okay, if we're going to figure this thing out, we're doing the whole neighborhood, because it's too much work to do it on our own.
Around the neighborhood, word spread quickly about the co-op, especially after Walter began a project that brought a steady stream of people to the house.
My son Walter did a project with compact fluorescent light bulbs. And what we found is that most people had heard of compact fluorescent light bulbs, but they hadn't really used them, or they had them in 1 or 2 light bulbs. And so what Walter did is purchased every light bulb variety we could find in the city, and we tested them.
We're trying to replace this light with this kind of light, and one of the things we really like about it is that it's very hard to tell the difference, but this one uses significantly less electricity than this one.
We bought $3,000 worth of light bulbs, and we filled up this room behind me with boxes of light bulbs. And it turned out to be a great organizing technique because people came in small batches, and we really had a time to meet people and get to know people. And the real strength of the co-op came from those relationships.
Soon, the Mount Pleasant Solar Co-op was attracting dozens of people to meetings in Anya's living room. They asked questions, compared notes, and strategized about everything from cutting political red tape to bargaining with solar installers.
What really surprised us was how many different kinds of people were really interested in this. And they all knew something about solar. They really thought it was a neat idea, having their own power.
Credit for that, and it's really a good cause.
That's another thing.
And then, of course, people are really motivated by climate change.
There are only a few dozen solar co-ops in the United States today, but the number is growing. Private citizens taking matters into their own hands to change the way America gets its power. Co-ops differ in their details. Some charge fees, some don't.
Question time.
But they all find strength in numbers. Finding the right panels at better prices, arguing with local utilities for high-tech metering systems.
But it's a non-taxable grant. That's the key thing.
And pushing politicians for tax breaks to make solar more affordable. Anya and her family were among the first in Mount Pleasant to turn their rooftop into a power plant. After 3 years of battling the system, installing the panels was a snap.
Actually, these were installed in a day.
And they're just stuck on.
Now, solar panels are sprinkled across the neighborhood rooftops.
One over there.
2 right there. There's here. There's one over there. There's ours, and there's several more that direction.
And there's 47 installations all around just this neighborhood, which is about 5 blocks this way and about 5 blocks that way. We look out at this sea of roofs and we just think, well, there should be a panel on every roof, and every person that lives in D.C. should have the chance to lower their bill by 30 or 50%. Why not?
The co-op helped Tom Kelly fulfill a decades-long dream to harvest the sun.
I went solar maybe because of a day like this, you know. It's obvious as the sun in your face that this is a good, benign, non-invasive, simple technology. I wonder why everybody doesn't do it. Look, it's not making any noise. It's not moving. It's just sitting here giving me electricity. That is so very cool.
Now neighbors like Tom Kelly and Rob Robinson compete in producing electricity.
Today's total so far is 19.7 kilowatts.
Oh, Jesus.
Eat your heart out.
Yeah. Make it hurt. Good Lord. They're going to owe you money this month.
I'm hoping.
Now, when the sun is out and his lights are off, Tom's meter runs backwards.
Hours.
Yeah, but how fast is your meter
Well,
turning
I looked at it. About an hour ago. It was 1355. Now it's at 1353.
That means he's selling his homebrewed energy to the power company, and his bill is down a whopping 80%.
I love your monitoring system.
Everybody likes to beat up on themselves.
As much as they love spinning their electricity bills backwards, co-op members have some higher motives as well.
Is equivalent to planting 33 trees. You see that?
Yes, I do.
And I've reduced my carbon footprint by 3,017 pounds. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but I feel good about it.
There's a mountaintop in West Virginia that's building a monument
owes me,
to you.
right?
Yeah, that's
So why is solar power providing less than 1% of U.S. electricity? No surprise here. Money. Technology continues to cut the price of materials dramatically. But in the U.S., solar is still 3 times more expensive than coal. It costs about $20,000 to install even a small rooftop array. But things are changing. Government tax breaks are bringing solar within range of the middle class. Most arrays will now pay for themselves in 5 to 10 years and keep on generating power for 30. But getting away from coal is never going to be easy.
The whole system in the United States is set up for a different kind of energy right now, a different kind of delivery. And it's really, there's no silver bullet. It's a gradual chipping away. You need a new regulation here, you need a new kind of machine there, and it's that constant being on top of how to make the implementation easier, more practical, cheaper.
Breaking with the norm takes courage, a willingness to gamble. But with energy, standing still may be the riskiest play of all. They believe that renewable energy is not only a good way to save the planet, it's also a great way to create new jobs. Take the solar power industry. Making and installing solar energy systems employs over 750,000 workers globally. One of the world's high-tech hubs for solar panel research is still in the US, Silicon Valley, California. These days, the money and the silicon that greased the internet boom is migrating towards clean energy products. Applied Materials, the world's largest supplier of machines that make computer chips, now leads the world in a growing new market: machines that make solar panels. But most of their billion-dollar business is overseas.
So, Mike, what are we seeing out here?
Well, what we're seeing is an array of solar cells.
CEO Mike Splinter worries that other countries are beating the U.S. to a valuable new market. 75% of the solar panel making machines go to Chinese companies.
They help make. 5 years ago, China made about 5% of the solar panels. This year, they'll make almost 50%.
Sort of all the global solar panels on the planet?
Yes.
Half of them are going to be made in China?
Yes. And that switchover just happened in the last few years.
So does that really worry you?
As an American, it certainly worries me. I think this is the biggest opportunity, the biggest market that we're going to see in this century. And that creates a huge opportunity for jobs to be created. If all those jobs go someplace else, we're just trading our energy dependence from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East to China or other countries that are going to really make the investment to produce renewable energy.
China is pumping $34 billion a year into clean technologies, nearly double what the US commits.
At the very top level, China has undergone a shift in the way they think about environment.
Peggy Liu heads a think tank studying China's energy policies.
In the last 3 years, we have really undergone somewhat of a green revolution in terms of attitude, in terms of mentality.
That green revolution is creating a lot of jobs, funded by government money. And when it comes to rolling out green energy goods, China's ambitions are clear. They want to lead the market in products needed to save the planet. Things like vacuum tubes that use solar power to heat water. 95% of all solar thermal tubes are made in China. About a third of them will be shipped around the world. But most will stay right here, becoming part of China's own push to use renewable energy at home. These water heaters are going up in the city of Dezhou, nearly 200 miles south of Beijing. Dezhou is a city undergoing a complete transformation. From sleepy outpost to new solar city. A living showcase for the country's determination to go green.
In China, the industry is being led by government policy from up above. So it's really China's central government that has said this is a priority. We must do this.
The government spent $10 million installing solar-powered streetlights in Dezhou. Over 80% of the buildings in town have solar water heaters. And some 800,000 workers in the area, 1 in 3, have jobs in the solar industry. Unlike the United States, China has set a national goal for itself. By 2020, it wants to double its renewable energy using wind, solar, and geothermal power for 15% of the country's needs. Why the rush? In the past 25 years, Chinese energy consumption has quadrupled. Satisfying the growing needs of 1.3 billion people and avoiding the social upheaval an energy crisis could bring means pulling power from any and all sources.
The Chinese government is very incented to go green. And they're talking about energy as the sort of fundamental element for harmonious society. We don't want people fighting over, is my factory going to get energy so that I can produce sweaters on a Friday? Or am I going to be able to get enough oil so that I can drive from one city to another to deliver my food? And what this means is we don't want to have riots in the streets.